This is insane as the Leafs win an absolutely crazy game against the Minnesota Wild in overtime on the backs of Matthew Knies, William Nylander. Everyone played good, and we have so much to discuss today. Along with that win, Mitch Marner has made history, so you're going to want to stay tuned. What a crazy game, what a crazy way to end the Sweden trip, and I'm just pumped up, and let's get into the breakdown. Before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. We notice a large percentage of you guys who are watching right now, but 80% are not subscribed, so scroll down, see if you're subscribed, and if you aren't, click that button as that would mean the world to me and the channel as well, as we're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. All right, let's get into it. The first chapter here. We have a lot to discuss today. What an unreal win for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's our fourth straight win. We're now 5-2, I believe, and just the Leafs have made me so happy the past 4 games. What a trip to Sweden. Shout out to the NHL. Couldn't have went any better for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The fans were electric. And of course, William Nylander was the guy who won it in overtime. And we're going to discuss everything. We're going to discuss Nylander. We're going to discuss the game in general, the goalie situation, which is starting to sort itself out. But if you're a Leafs fan, I cannot imagine a better way for this trip to Sweden to have gone than winning both of them. Nylander being what he's been all season, absolutely unbelievable, and capping the entire thing off with a goal in overtime to seal the deal against the Minnesota Wild on a very early Sunday morning game for us on the East Coast. And let's just get right into the box score here. We have so much to discuss today. Obviously, the highlight of the game was William Nylander for a few reasons. What a beautiful overtime goal in front of his family. His dad was emotional. I believe their parents and his family were crying a little bit. His dad's reaction was incredible, and it was an incredible goal for William Nylander. And all we're seeing now on Twitter around Leafs Nation is sign William Nylander, and there is nothing I'd rather do more than sign Nylander at this point. Go, Brad Treliving, go give him all the money he wants in the world. 10.5 million AAV, 11.5 million AAV, which with each game that's happening, William Nylander is increasing his price by $1 million, it seems like. But again, huge shout out to William Nylander. Matthew Knies he is starting to really flourish as a player. And if you missed this game today, go back and watch the highlights and just watch how, not only did he score a goal, just watch how physical he's being. He's played so well on both sides, offensively, defensively. He's using his body, he's checking, he's moving guys around. He's realizing, I'll show a tweet here later, that he's stronger than most NHL players, and he's able to actually abuse that size now. Austin Matthews had a great game. Of course, William Nylander teed it off and finished it off. And of course, Morgan Rielly continues his unbelievable season, putting up 3 points in this one. And again, for as much talk as we're having about the blue line, they've been playing a fairly decent, past few games, especially the past couple in Sweden. Obviously, the Leafs gave up a lead a couple of times in this game and let the Wild kind of scrape back after the Leafs were up 3-1, but ultimately, they got the job done. They won in overtime. Would you have liked for them to finish it in regulation? Absolutely. But you can't really complain. The Wild are an okay team, and it's just an unbelievable day if you're a Leafs fan. Everyone's hyped up. Mitch Marner had 2 assists. He also had a bit of a dirty slash per se, but I'll leave that to the fans to decide what the thoughts are on that. But just I'm almost at a loss for words. I woke up early, I watched this game, I was happy, I was sad, and then William Nylander finishes it off with such a beautiful goal, and I'm just super hyped about it. And again, the play from the entire team from start to finish, they feel like they're playing like they have something to prove with this team. We all want Brad Treliving to go ahead and make some moves, upgrade the blue line, but they've been playing solid lately. Morgan Rielly had a very, very good game. Jake McCabe is a guy who has been really, really, really good defensively, whether it's advanced metrics. He had 23 minutes on ice, time on ice tonight, or today, I guess, this morning. He's been playing unbelievably defensively, and this is a guy who we knew has the capability to be a very, very good defenseman for this team. And him and Rielly play a game like they have. Obviously, you have Giordano, Lagos, and Brody, and Benoit, who's been very, very solid. Unfortunately, he was on the ice for a goal. He's a -1 tonight. But regardless of that, once we get Liljegren back, maybe we trade for Nikita Zadorov. This team is looking very, very dangerous, especially now that our stars are really starting to pick it up. Obviously, Nylander's been great the whole season. Marner's off to a slow start. Matthews is Matthews, and just an unbelievable game, unbelievable Sweden trip, and the Leafs are playing crazy after losing whatever it was, 3 or 4 in a row before this trip. And let's quickly touch on Joseph Woll. Now, I know he's kind of been lost in the shuffle a little bit. Him and Samsonov. I mean, the goal coming into the season was Samsonov and Joseph Woll, 1A, 1B. It started off where Samsonov was struggling. Joseph Woll had a really hot start, and then he started to cool down, and Samsonov started to play a bit better. And what a game from Joseph Woll today. Of course, he gave up 3 goals, save percentage of about .920, but if you watch the game, he had some magnificent saves. He kept them in it the whole game. Obviously, they were up 3-1, and then he gave up 2 goals back-to-back to tie it and ultimately leading to overtime there. But he played so well in overtime. He played well in regulation. You're going to be giving up goals, especially with the way that, like, as much as I praise the Leafs blue line, they're still not phenomenal defensively, especially when you're missing guys like Liljegren and I guess John Klingberg to a degree. But again, with a beat-up blue line and Joseph Woll goes out there, he does exactly what he needs to do. And the goaltender tandem, I just wanted to give a huge shout-out to him because they had a great trip to Sweden. Obviously, we've only played 2 games in the last however many days. It's been very weird, lots of gaps in between games. When we come back from our Sweden trip against the Blackhawks on, I believe, the 24th of November, so now we have another 5 days before our next game. After that, the games start to pick up a little bit, and that's when it'll matter more regarding around who you're picking for goalies. Because, I mean, each of the guys got to start in Sweden here. We had Samsonov get a start, we had Joseph Woll get a start, and they both performed very, very well. And it's just lovely to see. If you can get both of those guys going, then you have one of the best tandems in the NHL if they're both performing to the way that we saw them before. Samsonov performed great last year. Joseph Woll performed great in his limited sample size last year and in the playoffs. And he's starting to prove again that Woll is a very, very good player. And 3 goals throughout, regulation plus overtime. Couldn't ask much more for that. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to Joseph Woll and the blue line as well for helping hold it down a little bit. Although they showed signs of giving up the lead there at the end. But that's fine with that. And I am absolutely pumped up. Right now, if you're watching, let me know in the comment section, were you fired up when you saw the William Nylander goal? Were you even up for that William Nylander goal? Because when the Leafs lost the lead in regulation, I was a little bit sad because you obviously want to see the Leafs close it out. That's something they sometimes struggle to do, is close out games, especially when they have the lead. They have tons of comeback wins this season. But now, it wasn't a comeback win this game and this season. It was a comeback. The Wild were coming back, but ultimately the Leafs held it down, and you need to get these wins. You need to get that extra point because in a league where there's a lot of other teams playing well, especially like the Vancouver Canucks, for example, they're on an absolute heater. The Jets are also playing very, very well. You want the Leafs to continue to get every point because at the end of the season, we all know how this works. Every single point will matter, and in a game like this in Sweden, I could not have asked for a better way. We get 4 points in Sweden with William Nylander closing it out with a goal and an assist. And not to mention that extends his point streak to however many games it is. He's scored a point in every single game this season. And from Pierre LeBrun, Nylander with an absolute beauty in OT. What a moment from him in Stockholm. Again, his family was there. His mom was there. It was electric. Nylander was... Go watch the goal on Twitter or wherever you want to find your highlights. It was an unbelievable goal for William Nylander, and you love to see it. And one more quick thing on Matthew Nyes. This was a tweet by Nick Richard. I mentioned the same thing. I noticed the same thing. He's starting to realize that he's bigger and stronger than a lot of guys in the NHL. He's going to be a menace. He might need his own custom video. Pay William Nylander, pay him. Matthew Nyes has been unbelievable, and I just cannot wait to see, once he continues to figure out how to use his body, what's next in store for the unbelievable player that we are happily able to witness every single day, which is very, very good, and I'm super excited. And let's get into the last topic here now before we wrap up, is that Mitch Marner makes history. And of course, William Nylander is making history every single game that he scores or gets a point, and now we have Mitch Marner making history today as he became the 3rd fastest active NHL player to reach 400 career assists behind only McDavid and Crosby. Huge for Mitch Marner, and in a season where he's not been performing as well, he always starts off slow, but he's starting off fairly slow. He's playing solid in the defensive end. He's doing okay things. That being said, it's nice to see some history come out of Mitch Marner, and you love to see when maybe he can use this for fuel going forward. He obviously had an assist in today's matchup. 2 assists, actually, getting 2 points, so you love to see that from Mitch Marner, and you love to see the Leafs battle back and get a much-needed win in Stockholm as they look to continue their win streak and improve it to 5 against the Chicago Blackhawks on November 24th. But that'll wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you were up and watched the game. Let me know in the comments if you woke up early. I believe it was out at 8 Eastern to watch the game today, and were you happy with the result with William Nylander? Couldn't ask for anything better. The only thing I ask now is that the Leafs extend Nylander. Thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow.